Tonight we journey into one of California's most chilling and unsolved mysteries, the Keddie Cabin Murders. A small, quiet resort town in the Sierra Nevada mountains, Keddie, California, became the scene of a gruesome crime that still haunts the area to this day. 4 lives were brutally taken, leaving behind an eerie crime scene and a tangled web of secrets that have never been fully uncovered. The night was cold, the forest silent, the cabin itself standing isolated amid the darkened pines, a place that would bear witness to unspeakable violence. The case remains a haunting enigma, murdered in the dead of night, a crime frozen in time, and the questions linger, unanswered, persistent, haunting every visitor who steps near the mountains. Welcome to Bellows from Beyond. On the evening of April 11th, 1981, Sue Sharp, a 36-year-old mother of 5, was at her remote cabin in Keddie, California, with her 2 teenage children, John and Tina, and 2 family friends, Dana Wingate and Greg Fiedler. Around 8 p.m., Sue's 14-year-old daughter Tina went to visit a friend, leaving the others behind in the cabin. What happened next remains shrouded in mystery, a darkness descending over the still silent Sierra Nevada night. Sometime between the late evening hours and early morning, 4 people were brutally murdered inside that cabin. Sue Sharp, her son John, and his friend Dana were discovered with shocking evidence of violence, brutal savagery that defies comprehension. The scene was horrific, blood everywhere, signs of a violent struggle, the unmistakable remnants of a gruesome crime. Even more unsettling was the absence of Tina, Sue's daughter, missing in a night that had swallowed everything else. The crime scene was discovered by Sue's oldest son, Rick Sharp, and his friend, Greg Fiedler, who arrived at the cabin on the morning of April 12, 1981. What they found left them in a state of shock. Sue Sharp, her son John, and Dana Wingate, all violently attacked. Sue had been bludgeoned with a blunt instrument, John and Donna stabbed, and the most disturbing discovery, Tina, the young daughter, nowhere to be found. Authorities quickly arrived, securing the scene. Yet they were confronted with a baffling and disturbing reality. No clear evidence pointed to the killer or killers. No immediate suspects emerged. The crime appeared to have been planned carefully, leaving behind only a trail of blood and confusion. The forest outside the cabin, the stillness of the morning air, all seemed to hold their breath, as if the mountains themselves were silent witnesses to the horror inside. The most haunting aspect of the Keddie Cabin Murders? The disappearance of Tina Sharp, Sue's 12-year-old daughter. Tina had last been seen leaving the cabin earlier in the evening, just hours before the murders. Her absence cast a shadow over the crime scene, a mystery that would linger for years. Her body would not be discovered until nearly 3 years later in 1984, in a wooded area near Camp 18, miles from Keddie. Tina had been brutally murdered, her remains partially concealed under a blanket in a remote and heavily wooded area. But even the discovery of her body raised more questions than answers. Why was she taken? Was her death part of the events that night, or a separate act of horror? How could someone remove a child and leave no trace for years? The investigation into the Keddie Cabin murders was plagued by dead ends, false leads, and frustrating gaps in evidence. Authorities discovered that the cabin had been ransacked, yet some items were left untouched, suggesting the murders might not have been a robbery gone wrong. Local law enforcement, in conjunction with the FBI, pursued several leads over the years, but the case seemed an impenetrable puzzle, each clue slipping further into the shadows. One of the few leads was the testimony of a local man, Bo, a neighbor who lived near the Keddie cabin. Bo had connections to Tina's family, yet his testimony and his potential involvement never led to concrete evidence. Another twist: Dana Wingate, one of the victims, had a criminal background. However, investigators could find no direct link between Dana's past and the murders. Despite all the efforts, no arrest was ever made. The case grew cold, and rumors began to swirl, the town itself caught between fear and uncertainty. Numerous theories emerged over the years, attempting to explain the Keddie Cabin murders. Some speculated that the crime was the work of an experienced killer, someone who carefully planned the murders in advance. Others suggested multiple perpetrators, based on the evidence of extreme violence and coordination. Some theories connected the crime to a drug deal gone wrong, possibly involving Dana Wingate's contacts with local dealers. Others pointed to Sue Sharp's past and the men in her life who may have been dangerous. Or was the entire family targeted in a crime of opportunity? Perhaps the most chilling theory: the killer or killers were someone local, someone who knew the area, someone who could move among neighbors without suspicion. If so, they may still be walking free today, invisible, unknown. The Keddie Cabin murders remain one of the most perplexing and chilling unsolved crimes in California history. The horrific nature of the killings, the lack of answers, the eerie silence surrounding the case, all contribute to its enduring mystery. The crime scene, frozen in time, still holds secrets that may never be fully uncovered. Despite decades passing, the question remains: who killed Sue Sharp, her son John, Dana Wingate, and Tina Sharp? As new evidence is unearthed and the case revisited by both law enforcement and armchair detectives, the shadow of the Keddie murders continues to loom over the small town. A reminder that some crimes leave scars far deeper than physical wounds, and that the truth may never fully emerge. If you've been drawn into the cold shadows of unsolved crime, remember to like, subscribe, and join us for more stories where justice hides in the dark, into the beyond.